A pleasant day to everyone. For our lesson, we have here the belief systems and ethics. So in the end of this lesson, you students are able to have an idea about how belief systems affect our business practices, and also you can differentiate the belief system of the eight major religions. So alam naman natin na ang religion ay at ang ating paniniwala ay hindi ito separated. Okay, they are always work or they are always dependent on one another. Now, in terms of the world's eight major religions, we have here the Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, and the Shintoism. So each of them has founded a set of beliefs, rituals, and system of worship. Each has also prescribed ethical standard on a certain aspect of a business. Religion is deeply embedded in the culture of every society. It can also influences people's way of life, such as Jewish and Christian beliefs in the West, Islam with the Arab, Hinduism is definitely in India, Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism in East Asia. To act ethically in the two-way process, first, an individual has to find out what should be done given a particular situation. Second, is the actual act of doing it. In the first, there is an ethical theory needed to determine what should be done. In the second, the act of doing requires moral character. In religions, no, it comes with the actual act of doing the ethical act, which is really hard to do. For some, it takes moral courage to do what they have to do in particular situation. They act based on the faith of many, or for many, religion is the source of our moral strength. And now let's discuss one by one. First, we have here the Judaism. So there are about 12 to 17 million Jews in the US and also in Israel. The Jews are divided into three groups. First, we have here the Middle Eastern or the Oriental Jews. Second, we also have here the Sephardic Jews from Spain and Portugal. And for the last, we also have the Ashkenazi Jews from Europe. Judaism traces its root from the covenant made between God and Abraham. The covenant also includes the Ten Commandments, which embody the core value of Judaism. These 11 core Jewish values form the basis of ethics in Judaism. First is we have the honesty. So in honesty, the Jews are taught to be always truthful. Second, we also have here the integrity. Integrity meaning they need to be consistent in their word and also in terms of their actions. For number three, we have here the breath. It means always keeping one's word. Kumbaga, sa madaling salita, dapat meron kang isang salita. Number four, we also have here the loyalty. It is developing a trusting relationship with God, parents, friends, and even in our tradition. Five, we also have here the Shedaka. It means refraining from being judgmental and doing act of charity to the poor. Number six, we also have here the Chis. It means being kind and also being merciful to others. For number seven, respect for human dignity. It is a respect for human life since all of us are created in the image and likeness of God. For number eight, respect for law. It is the practice of good citizenship by abiding by the law of the community. For number nine, we also have here the accountability. It means each individual is held accountable for his or her action and is therefore answerable to God and to others. For number 10, taking responsibility. Ethical people take responsibility for their decision and they also be a set of example for others. And for number 11, we have here the Tikom Olam. We can contribute something to make the world a better place by fighting oppression, corruption, and even exploitation. Now, in terms of ethics of Judaism, in more practical sense, Judaism has its contribution to human behavior at work. How? One of the guiding principles is to have a high regard for work. It also believes that a person should be concerned with the welfare of others. This is similar to Christian beliefs. However, the Jews believe that to acquire wealth through profit and business is a wrong. Why? Because it leads to envy or greed. Like Buddhism, the Jews believe that persons should have the things needed for survival and happiness. The Jews have a certain rules to follow in business organization. First, employers and employee follow different set of rules because they have different positions. Employers should be aware of extent of their employees' capacity and are not allowed to insult or embarrass them. They are also not permitted to withhold the salary because of them. Jewish employees should be allowed to go home before the sunset during Sabbath and holidays. Meanwhile, employees should always be productive. Aside from employers and employees, Jewish tradition define the relationship between buyers and sellers and borrowers and lenders to prevent the exploitation of buyers and borrowers. Employees are required to pay employees fairly on time, and workers should be given privileges such as work breaks and the freedom to organize themselves. Second is we have here the Christianity. Christianity has around 2 billion followers with many branches and churches. There are three main branches of Christianity. First is the Catholic, second is the Orthodox, and the last is the Protestant. Among these three branches, the Christian Bible is the main guide to determine what is ethical and moral. All of the 72 books in the Bible are believed to be inspired by God. Thus, it has become the source of knowledge on what is right and wrong. Christianity traces also its roots to Judaism, which based its ethical and moral principle on the Old Testament, specifically the covenant between God and Abraham. The Old Testament laid the foundation of the New Testament, which brought the ministry of Jesus and the apostle to the Word. Ethics in Christianity is threefold. First, the value propagated in Christian beliefs are based on the Christian scripture. Second, behavior is related to the behavior of Christian prophets. Third, ethics is based on the standards of behavior taught by Jesus. Christian believes in a loving God who created the universe. The focus is neither the performance of religious rituals nor good deeds, but having a personal relationship with Him. To do good or evil is a choice. God has given us a free will, and if one chooses to obey God's commandments, he will be morally upright and will eventually have a meaningful life. If Christians suffer, they can always turn to God who loves them and help them carry their burdens. Ultimately, God wants each one of us to love one another as we love ourselves. The basic Christian tenet came from the Ten Commandments. The supreme norm of Christian ethics is Jesus Christ. When He became man, He showed obedience to what God the Father has commanded Him. This is the starting point of morality. Jesus Christ is the central figure in all Christian teaching. Jesus spoke through the parables to warn businessmen against greed and excessive love for material things such as money. Christianity also emphasized justice. in the form of honoring contracts or agreement and working for a common good. Third is we have here the Hinduism. Hinduism is a primarily centered in South Asia, and nearly 85% of Hindus live in India. It has about a billion followers. The Hindus worship Brahman, who is considered the source of ultimate oneness in the form of God and goddesses. This representation can be idol, temples, animals, mountains, and river, and so on. The Hindus' present life is brought about by whatever action or behavior they had in the past. Like for example, they have wrongdoing in the past. It is more likely what they will experience hardship today. Suffering, diseases, poverty, and other hardship are brought about by evil action in their past life. And this is what we call the law of karma. Hindus believe that there is a continuous cycle of reincarnation. Their end goal is freedom from the law of karma. Karma, okay, is a term for an act or deed, whether good or bad, which may result in either happiness or misfortune. Act of charity, kindness, and other good deeds ends up with favorable outcomes and the end to suffering and misfortune. Karma can also be described as a cause and effect, or what you sow, you reap. The Hindus have a positive outlook towards different aspects of human life, such as work. How the work is done, okay, how they perform, is more important than what particular work is done. Hindus value commitment to work and they are held accountable for results. Hindus are dedicated workers. They also protect the interests of the organization where they are working. The wise men of India should possess the highest standard of conduct, for they are considered to be the most knowledgeable and intelligent among the people. This includes integrity, character, truthfulness, ethics, and morality. Next is we have here the Buddhism. Nearly 25 years ago, Siddhartha Gautama separated from Hinduism and became known as the Buddha or the Enlightened One. There are around 350 million Buddhists with one-third of population residing in China. Meanwhile, around 90% of Thailand's populations are Buddhist. Buddhism is based on the teaching of Buddha. Buddhists do not worship God or gods. Buddha is also not a god, but is considered by Buddhists as their end goal, the one they would like to attain to be free from the cycle of life and death. Such like the Hindus, Buddhists believe in the cycle of rebirth, and part of this rebirth is suffering. They believe also that the causes of this rebirth are cravings, aversions, and selfish motives. The end goal of Buddhists is to let go of all these selfish yearnings and hostility by purifying our heart. They do this through meditation until they reach nirvana, where all this selfish attachment to oneself are extinguished. Buddhists do not acknowledge companies which do not give importance to the environment and animals. They also believe that the world has become very materialistic and therefore people should be taught not to be attached to worldly possessions. People also can engage in business activities and become wealthy, but money, status, and power should not conquer them. Next is we have here the Islam. The history of Islam started in Muhammad. Upon his death, majority of the Arab countries adopted Islam. At present, Islam has about a billion of followers. Muslims believe that Muhammad is God's last prophet. Islam laid the foundation for some moral standard that determine what is morally good and what is morally bad. It gives importance to the love of God and man. The holy book of Muslim is what we call Quran, which provide the basic principles on how to deal with life, including businesses. The Muslim also believe that Allah is the Almighty God who is the creator of the universe. Allah is the source of good and evil, and whatever happened to human is His will. Allah is considered powerful and strict, and whoever believes in Allah is His servant. At the end of one's earthly life, the person will be judged according to his good deeds and devotion to Allah. Giving one's life to Allah is a sure way of entering paradise. Islamic ethics is governed by freedom, responsibility, and honesty. Gambling is restricted among Muslims. They are not allowed to invest in a stock markets because it is considered a gambling activity. But they are not restricted from engaging in the business activity or making a profit. Next is we have here the Confucianism. Confucianism was the religion propagated by Confucius in China in 50th century BC. Confucius are found in China and in Korea. Confucianism is one of the three traditional religions of China and the fundamental beliefs system of the Chinese. The other two are the Buddhism and Taoism. The teaching of Confucius advocates stability by organizing the society and places more emphasis on the common good and welfare of all through interdependence. Profit should be acquired with righteousness, and a business organization should attend to the needs of its stakeholders. The most important core value in Chinese business practices is interpersonal relationship built on trust and reciprocity. Next, we also have here the Taoism. Taoism was based on Tao Te Ching, or the Book of the Way and Virtue by Lao Tzu. Many of the 30 million Taoists blend their religion with Buddhism and Confucianism. Taoists are found in Thailand and other Chinese minorities found in the Southeast Asian countries. Taoism promotes inner peace within an individual and harmony with the surroundings. Tao means the path or the way. The Tao is considered as the cause of everything, which means that if one follows the Tao, there is harmony. If not, there is a chaos. The Tao has three basic tenets, namely Tao, Wu, Wei, and the Yin and Yang. Tao refers to the universal laws of nature, while Wu Wei means letting go. Yin and Yang means dualism or interconnecting opposites. The black dot in the white area represent that there may be opposing aspect of the other within itself and vice versa. This means that yin and yang may be opposites, but they are interdependent. And for the last, we have the Shintoism. Shintoism is the ethnic religion of Japan, which started around the 7th century AD. The emergence of Shintoism is closely tied to the development of Japan as a nation. Shinto comes from the Chinese word, means Chin or divine being, and Tao, which means way of the spirit. The Japanese consider Shinto not as a belief, but more as a way of life. This is because of its focus on rituals and Japanese practices. Also, Shinto has no god and no commandments. Shintos worship sacred spirit called kami, which are found in the nature such as wind, rain, mountain, trees, and other geographic forms. Shinto's ethical principles, however, were inspired by Confucianism. Its ethics is based on the idea that all human beings are basically good and the word is good as well. Shintoism leads the Japanese to respect nature since people and kami coexist unlike the Western counterparts, wherein people control nature for profit. Shintoism also encouraged group effort which recognized individuals in a group such as treating employees like a family. Thank you so much and be ready with our recitation.